Little Darcy, sitting the doll in a toy stroller, felt like a happy mom. She had a lot of such toys. She fed them with a spoon, changed their clothes, and put them to bed. Singing a lullaby to them in the evenings, the girl herself fell asleep without noticing it. Her grandmother, Miranda Brown, wiping away a furtive tear, gently took granddaughter in her arms and put her to bed. "You'll have time to have your own kids, honey. Just wait," the woman muttered softly to herself. "You'll do a lot of good, not like your mother. She was so small and cute," she added angrily, looking at the photo of her daughter 30 years ago. Miranda Brown's own daughter Louise had a kid with a visiting biker and went to travel around the country with him. The most insulting thing was that she left her newborn daughter in care of her mother. If earlier Louise somehow made herself known, she would write a letter. Then she would send a package by Christmas. Now there's no news from her at all. And a few days ago, it turned out that Darcy's mother, along with another boyfriend, crashed on a motorcycle. That's how they stayed together, a little granddaughter and her grandmother. Time, as you know, sometimes flies faster than we would like. Darcy grew up, turning into a real beauty, with eyes the color of heavenly azure and sensual languid lips. Mrs. Brown was in a hurry to give her granddaughter everything that her own mother had deprived her of. Unfortunately, grandmother's health was getting worse every day. Miranda Brown was gone as soon as the festive noise of her granddaughter graduation ball died down. So, by the will of evil fate, Darcy was left an orphan. A huge adult world, full of uncertainty, stretched out in front of the girl. Trying to find a job, Darcy turned into a local hotel. The girl was hired immediately. Such stately beauties could decorate any hotel, while raising the prestige of the institution. But in fairness, it should be said that Darcy did not eat her bread in vain, and received her salary not only for her beautiful eyes. She worked diligently, which immediately earned respect from the staff of the hotel complex. One day, while cleaning one of the rooms, Darcy found a folder lying on the bedside table. Apparently the last guest had forgotten it, and now he was probably lost in guesses about exactly where he dropped the valuable thing. This has happened before, so the girl reacted to it with understanding. She gave the fine to administrator, and by the evening she has safely forgotten about it. The call to the manager alerted Darcy. She was always very efficient, and she never had any reprimands. Then why did the manager need it? In the office, in addition to the higher management, there was also a young man with very pleasant appearance. He looked at Darcy with interest, studying her with his intelligent brown eyes. "Have you been called, Mr. Hall?" the girl asked timidly. "Yes, Darcy. Come in. Here, this young man wants to talk to you. I'll leave you two for a while," the manager said, and closing the door left the office. The maid looked inquiringly at the visitor. The guy, catching her gaze, smiled and said, "I wanted to thank you for finding my folder. It has very valuable documents for me." "It wasn't difficult at all," the girl answered confusedly. "You know, I want to thank you. My name is Alfred. To show my appreciation, I'll invite you to dinner. Choose any," the visitor suggested. Darcy thought about it. She didn't want to spend another evening in the company of TV and four walls. Therefore, she did not hesitate for long, and gladly accepted Alfred's offer. "I have a shift. It ends in an hour. Will you wait for me?" Lowering her eyes, she asked the guy. "Yes, of course. I'll wait for you outside." Alfred smiled and left the office. The rest of the shift flew by unnoticed. Alfred met Darcy at the entrance, with a bouquet of white roses, the cost of which exceeded the half of monthly salary of the maid. "This is for you, Darcy," said the young man, and opened the door of his luxury Ford in front of her. Everything that happened next, the girl remembered as a dream. A chic restaurant and an exquisite menu. A walk along the embankment, and wine turned her head around. By the end of the evening, she already felt like a queen. Despite the fact that it was already too late, the couple did not want to part at all. But Darcy had to go to work tomorrow, and her boyfriend had to go to university. After kissing the girl goodbye on the cheek, Alfred walked to his car. Darcy's heart felt so sad that feeling her head spinning from rush of feelings, she ran after the departing Alfred. He understood everything and hugged the girl. Holding hands, they went into Darcy's house. Unbridled passion filled their hearts with universal tenderness and love. They spent the night together, and in the morning they parted, promising to see each other again. So, it happened. Romantic walks, restaurants, theaters, and hot, full of bad battles nights. But as you know, you have to pay for everything in life. Drugged by the crazy rhythm of romantic meetings, Darcy at first did not even understand the reason for the nausea and weakness. Nausea and dizziness, with surprising regularity, were repeated every morning, until the pregnancy test put everything in its place. Its verdict was strict and uncompromising. 2 strips, and a pregnancy of about 2 weeks. Darcy, as if on wings, flew to her beloved, hurrying to report such exciting news. But to the surprise of the girl, she could not see the joy in Alfred's eyes. "Darcy, darling, I don't know how to say this. The child right now, well, it will be superfluous. I'm flying to London in a month. I'll be there for at least 2 years. Therefore, it's too early for me to think about a wedding and children. Don't get me wrong. Abortion will solve all our problems. I'll pay for everything. Don't worry." His answer took Darcy's breath away. "Who do you think I am? I don't need your money. I'll keep the baby." With tears in her eyes, the girl exclaimed and walked away. Pregnancy was difficult. The terrible toxicosis did not give rest, making Darcy's existence simply unbearable. Alfred, as promised, flew to London and did not even say goodbye. Having lost faith in love and feelings, Darcy saw her former lover in every man she met. When the torment reached its climax, the girl became ill right at the workplace. Darcy was taken away by an ambulance. Upon arrival at the department, she had a miscarriage. Darcy's condition was critical, but the doctors did the impossible, pulling her out of the clutches of death. Gradually, day by day, Darcy returned to normal life. Returning to her former place of work, she began her usual duties. The only and most painful disappointment for Darcy was that she could not manage to have a child. Doctors advised the woman not to torture her body anymore, and to think about the child from an orphanage. Time flew by imperceptibly. One day, Darcy was walking down the street. The mood was wonderful, and the woman for once felt great. Suddenly, she felt a small push in her hand. Unknowingly, the girl grabbed the troublemaker's jacket. It turned out to be a 7-year-old boy, who, having accelerated on roller skates, could not stop in time. The boy almost flew into the roadway, only miraculously missing a large truck. If Darcy had not had time to hold the baby, the tragedy would not have been avoided. "Oh, you tomboy! You ran away from me again!" A woman's voice sounded behind Darcy. She turned around and saw an elderly woman, and a man about 35 hurrying towards her, with barely noticeable gray at the temples. "I told you, Mrs. Goodman, you won't catch up with Jacob," the man said after catching his breath. Seeing that Darcy was tenaciously holding his son's hand, the stranger was full of apologies and thanks. "It's okay, I love children, and your boy is very nice, I can feel it," Darcy replied. "Do you live far away? Can I give you a lift? I have a car here at the intersection," the boy's father offered. Although Darcy felt a little awkward, she accepted the offer anyway. Already on her way home, she found out that the man's name was Jonathan Green. He specializes in restaurant business and is a very successful businessman. He lost his wife in a car accident 5 years ago and has been raising his son alone all this time. Darcy was surprised to find herself thinking that she was extremely attracted to the man sitting behind the wheel. There was a sense of strength and reliability from Jonathan. At parting, the boy's father took her phone number and did it so exquisitely that Darcy blossomed like a spring flower. In the evening, the businessman called the girl and offered to attend the theatrical premiere. Hastily gathering herself, Darcy rushed to the meeting. Everything went great, and the woman felt a long-forgotten sense of comfort. Their feelings flared up gradually as if gaining strength. Darcy was afraid of serious relationship, but Jonathan's gentle pressure did its job. Having stayed with her once for the night, the man did not leave her, never again. Not knowing whether to rejoice or cry, Darcy realized that she was pregnant again. Jonathan literally carried her in his arms. Having gathered all his connections, he provided Darcy with round-the-clock medical supervision. The due date came, and the doctors, holding their breath, started the operation. A few hours later, twins were born, a boy and a girl. Jonathan was unspeakably glad to meet new family members. He always dreamed of a daughter. Fate brought him together with a beloved woman, who gave him both, the daughter and the son. "Everything will be fine. We put them on their feet, if only they would grow up healthy," said the happy father, meeting his wife on the threshold of a maternity hospital with a bouquet of scarlet roses. Looking after them, medical staff of the hospital was sure that a real feminine happiness had finally appeared in Darcy's life.